Good
while I am
afternoon.
Good
I am
getting my
afternoon,
screen
and
in
Illinois.
welcome to
place.
Justine Peterson. Invite you to Illinois Ignites. Well, Nate, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Thank you so much, Yolanda. So good to be with you and so good to spend some time talking about a very important subject, marketing. So as business leaders, business owners, we know we need to market, and sometimes we just need a little help with some ideas, especially on a shoestring budget. Marketing can get really expensive really fast. And so the last round we talked about marketing on a budget. This is part two. So I'm Nate Sala. I'm the owner of the Income Tax Center, and we spend a lot of time with our clients in tax planning, tax preparation, and of course advisory, helping our business owners to make better choices and have greater profits so that they can then turn that and use that as a resource to build better companies. So that's a little bit about us, and we'll get right into it. So a quick recap I wanted of part one. And if you haven't caught that, I think the team at JP might even be able to get that out, or has gotten it out for the availability for anyone who's attended. But here's a quick recap. We talked about avatar, and really your avatar is really just knowing who you serve, who is the best person, best fit for your product, your service, your offering. Who would you delight? Yeah. And when you talk about avatar, think about customers you have who absolutely love your service and who are so thankful for your service. That's really your avatar. So breaking that down. And then we talked about the value ladder. We talked about how to build steps of trust. And we're going to talk a little bit more about trust today as well, about how we build value with trust. And then how to create free tactics, reviews, referrals, organic social media, things like that. And then how quality really is what should be driving the marketing. And so today we're going to shift. We're going to shift from low cost tactics to predictable revenue systems in your marketing. So I want to start with one of the biggest small business mistakes is that we only do marketing when business is slow. And it's like, oh no, I better turn the marketing engine on. And really, marketing shouldn't be on or off. It should just be consistent. And oftentimes, automating it and making it predictable, it doesn't mean that you can't turn down the dial, but we should always be thinking about how we are making ourselves known in the marketplace, the awareness. Because if we wait till we're slow, we're really behind the game because then we got to market and then we don't have any money. So that's not a good practice. I want to start really diving in. We're talking about trust. So think about yourself as not only as a business owner, but as a consumer yourself. When do you buy? Well, people buy when they trust you, right? It's like the last four of a process. But I'm going to talk about just some aspects of it. People, you may have heard this saying, know, like, trust, and then buy, right? So that's like that four-part process. But how is trust built? Here's how trust is built. It's through demonstration, not promotion. What does that mean? That means that trust isn't built just because you put some advertising out and said, "Hey, come see me." It's really through how you demonstrate your own authority, and that's one trust mechanism, authority. And what that means is your authority in an area builds trust. Just like if you went to see a physician, you want to know that they had authority, and you wanted to know that they had the competence and do the work right. Same thing with you went and saw an attorney, right? What do you see those billboards? How many cases they win? When you go see, for us, an accountant, you see and you want to say, oh my goodness, do they know the tax code? Do they know the laws? Can they save me money, right? Do they have authority based on their demonstration of ability? And so in marketing for us as business leaders, as entrepreneurs, we really have three authority engines that I wanted to just briefly discuss in terms of your marketing. Number one, public teaching. So what is public teaching? Well, so what I'm doing right now, right? Public teaching. I'm teaching you about different aspects of the business cycle, of how we can be more effective as business leaders and demonstrating authority through this public teaching. Are you teaching publicly? So that's one way, through these webinars and whatnot. You might, have a podcast. That would be another way to teach publicly. The second way is expert content. Okay. And we're going to talk a little bit about this. This is when you're providing content on your expertise, whether it be social media, whether it be newsletters, wherever it is. And it's free content. It's just giving away, again, the demonstration of how you do what you do well. So, for example, for accounting expert content, I would send out a newsletter or a mailer or a post on specific tax savings, right? I'm an expert. I'm showing you how to save on taxes or your own community presence. What is this? This is when you're active in your community physically, whether you are shaking hands at an event and you're sharing all the wonderful things you're doing for people, or perhaps you are at your church, your local your local social community, whether it be religious, whether it be civic, whether it just be social, and you're establishing a presence. Some people use like BNIs, if you will, for an example. That's a business networking group, right? That's a community presence. Different ways that we are present. These are all ways that you demonstrate your authority. These are engines. And so when you have established your engine and people begin to see you having authority, you have to then think about what is my system once I do have authority. Once people start recognizing me as someone who is trustworthy based on my knowledge and my ability to solve those problems, part of the challenge is that most businesses have testimonials, right? You put a testimonial up and you say, hey, these people trust me. They've said all these wonderful things about me, but they have no system. And so you have to think about your flywheel. And so this is what we call the testimonial flywheel. I want to just briefly talk about this in the marketing on a shoestring. By the way, this is either cost you nothing dollars wise or very low cost. Number one, you always want to ask. Ask, ask, ask. It's so hard for some of us to ask for the review, the testimonial. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm not great at it. And you have lots of people who may want to just give you a great testimonial, whether it's, capturing it via your website, your Google website or whatnot. You can send them to your review page, whether it's capturing it for your website in just a written form. And then what you want to do is you want to then package the testimonials based on the type. You don't want to have all the same type of testimonials. You want to have all the ones that are different, that share all of your different expertise, and then publish them, whether they be on your website, whether they be in your social media, anywhere they may be, to generate the awareness that people trust you. And so testimonials is a really important one that we often lack. I have a client who has uh, hundreds and hundreds of great testimonials, and he's got like a 4.9 on all the ratings, and he's very diligent about getting those testimonials, and then he continues to repurpose them and use them in other means, so it becomes this machine of marketing that a lot of people don't take advantage of. And again, dollars wise, it costs you absolutely nothing. But here's the thing about people: they buy more than services. They buy a story. And that's important too, because you want to remember that your customer has a story, and you want to create a story for your new customer from your current customers. So this is also part of the marketing on a shoestring. I want you to think about a customer you have, or think about a customer that you have had that's you've really knocked it out of the park for them. You've solved their problems. And then you want to like talk through that story. First you want to craft it and craft the origin, if you will, of the story. In other words, what was their situation when you met them? Well, for example, my client, my new client who I had a problem, their current accountant wasn't calling them back. They were trying to get a hold of them, and they realized that there was no way. They were late often in getting documents to the taxpayer to sign. Prices went up significantly, and they weren't really knowledgeable. So you have three different issues in this origin story, right? That are problematic. So you share that, and why do you share all three? Because those are the three primary reasons that we get clients. So our avatar will be looking for one of those three things, either responsiveness, cost, or expertise. So identify what are your three top reasons people come to you. And then find the stories that support that. So that's the origin. So when people hear that story, then they say, "Oh, that's me. That's me. I'm there right now." Great, because then you're possibly one of our avatars. And then the mission story comes in next, right? Well, I want to make sure I understand how to help you and relieve these issues. So we talk about the mission. Our mission, satisfy your tax advisory and accounting needs so outstandingly that your joy becomes infectious. Now, who puts the words joy and taxes in the same sentence? Nobody does. But we do. Why? Because that makes the mission really attractive and relevant. And it's not necessarily that doing your taxes is joyful. It's all of the things that come along with that, the relationship, how we serve you, our values, our ability, our desires. And so that's our mission story. We talk about our mission and why it's important to us, why we live for that mission. It's our justification for existence. And then from there, what happens next? The customer transformation, right? The customer transformation is we talk about, wow, so this customer got better service, they got responsiveness, they got fair pricing, and they got expertise. And that transformed their experience. Their life was so much better now that they found someone, a company, who could meet those needs in such a way. And then you finish with why we do what we do. We care deeply about these customers. We want to serve well, and it's our heart to only work with clients who are in need of that kind of service and really want the best of that kind of service. You can see. So this is your signature story. And as you walk through the signature story, people who are attracted to your service and want to solve their problems in the way that you can solve them, once you begin to send this out into the world, will find you. And it's a great way to market without marketing, if that makes sense, because you're just telling a story. You're just telling the story about them. And they want to know that their story ends well because right now it's not. You don't want the person who's completely happy with where they are. That's the best fit for them. You want the people who are searching and unhappy. The way I see it, I don't see any competitors. I don't have competitors. It's not because I'm better than anybody else. It's just that I don't see them as competitors. I see them as colleagues. Everyone else in my industry is a colleague. They have their best fit. I have my best fit. I tell my signature story for who? For my best fit. Somebody else's signature story is different. And so it's that for their best fit. If we just look at everyone as competitors, I think that's to me, sometimes a scarcity mindset instead of an abundance mindset. I want my colleagues to thrive. I want them to have a ton of customers. I want them to pay great wages to their employees and for them to feed their families and provide for their needs. I want them to be successful. Sometimes I'll send people to some of my colleagues who don't fit my signature story and vice versa. And that's how we approach an abundance mindset instead of a scarcity mindset, even in how we market. So I want you to think about this next piece here is the rhythm. So when you start getting these stories built and these testimonials built, well, you want to then start creating a marketing rhythm. So on a weekly basis, you want to do 3 value posts, and whether they be online, whether they be, I'm talking about online, like social media, which could be Facebook, could be Instagram, TikTok, any of the social media, LinkedIn, the social media platforms, and then one offer. So 3 value posts. What's a value post? Well, value post is the value that you brought or the value you bring or some of the content we talked about in the last couple of expertise and an authority post, right? They're just, hey, what do I do? What this week we were so happy to help a client save X dollars through this strategy. Check it out, right? That's a value post, and then offer. Hey, by the way, we're running a promotion on, consultations. Consultation is 50% off this week if if you click this button and use this code. And so that's how that works, right? So you don't want to just always offer, and you don't want to always just do values. Here's the thing about value. Value also builds trust because people pursue what they value, no more, no less. This is this is a hack, a leadership hack. If you want to lead well, remember people pursue what they value, no more, no less. And then you have to be repetitive because people don't remember things generally on the first try. You have to have repetition. You have to, so 7 times sometimes you have to keep repeating the same thing or a variation of it to build memory of who you are and why you're important. Sometimes, do you remember people's names the first time? Sometimes it's difficult to, doesn't it? So you have to get one of my hacks for one of my tricks for remembering someone's name when I first meet them is just keep saying it in my head. Say it over a few times and just internally memorize it or make an association with it. And so that helps me to remember someone's name. The same thing for you when it comes to remembering who you are and why you should be important in their lives. And then consistency. Continue to do it week after week, month after month, year after year, because that's really what's going to take your revenue higher and higher. All right. Next, social media content. All right. So we're moving into social media. So here's a rotation for you when it comes to the social media content bucket. So, so step one, teach. Like I had said, you teach, you share, you give some content that's important on expertise. And then you show. Okay, so how do you show? Well, then you show what was a client experience, right? Show me how a client was successful in this endeavor, whatever it is that you are selling, your product or your service. And then you tell them more about your offering. You tell them more about how your business then is a benefit to people. And then the last piece, you sell. You say, hey, if you are in that place, we'd love to serve you. Here's our phone number. Here's our email address. Here's a link to get an appointment started. Use that rotation to simplify your content creation. And then that rotation then becomes how you continually get more and more awareness in the marketplace. If you have any questions or anything along the way, feel free to just you can post in the chat, or you can certainly hop on your speaker if you have any questions along the way. All right. Some people ask about video. Thank you so much, guys. This Some people ask about video. How do you do video when we're talking about marketing on a budget, shoestring budget? Well, think about the HERO acronym. We're going to go through this whole this model. I love this model, this HERO model. So the first is the hook. What is the hook? The hook is here's your problem, right? People people will always respond better with pain than pleasure. Remember that. Now we're under the governance of both pain and pleasure. Actually, Jeremy Bentham said that way back, hundreds of years ago, and he said that it was actually the opening line of his book on economics. He was one of the big word progenitors, or he was one of the authors or initial contributors to this idea of economics. We call it neoclassical economics. And he said that all mankind is under the sovereign governance of two masters, pain and pleasure, and they guide and decide what we're going to do. And pain usually comes first. And people just don't want pain. So they know when they're facing a pain and you share that pain with them, they are going to get attentive. So what I put 2 words in my video advertising or my marketing, 2 easy words: taxes hurt. Now, I haven't met a person yet who's been like, no, taxes feel good. I love how taxes feel. I always want to get more taxes. No, people agree. Yeah, taxes hurt. That's the hook. That's the hook, right? Yes, agreed. Nate, tell me more. Okay, so what's your hook? Think about what the number one pain point is that people feel when interacting with your product, your widget. And then empathy is the second. So hook is the H, E is empathy. I understand taxes hurt for me too. And that's why I can't stand paying 1 red cent more than I'm legally required to. You see, that's empathy. I feel you. I understand. I feel the pain too. I'm a taxpayer and I don't want to, I hurt. Okay. That's empathetic. And then the R, the next one. So you think about what your empathy is. How do you provide empathy? And empathy, we want it to be genuine empathy, not just canned or or rehearsed real, sympathetic. And then the R, roadmap. The next step is how we eliminate that pain. Through our tax planning and tax strategy and tax effectiveness, we have a team of very competent and very capable accountants, CPAs, advisors who help to reduce that tax to the last possible dollar you should pay under the law. That's a roadmap. That's a roadmap. What about you? What's your roadmap? And then the last one, and I'm simplifying this, of course. The last one is offer. Yeah, the hero piece. Yeah. So if you're in that place and you don't want to be in that place anymore, we'd love to have a conversation with you, see how we can help. Doesn't have to be anything extravagant. It's just simple. It's just human beings. We're just talking. Just think of it as a conversation. And this will make your video effortless. And if you put this on a video, script it out, help maybe perhaps have AI help you, you might have something that's really, really resonant with your potential end user, your customer. Again, you can even feed this model into your AI and say, help me with a hero framework video for my business. Here's my hook, here's my empathy, here's my roadmap, here's my offer. Script it out for me. It'll script it out for you. Tell it how long you want it, 30 seconds, 45, 90. I wouldn't go any more than 90 seconds. It's just people's attention spans, friends, are just not as much as they used to be, let's just say. So that's how you do it. All right. Now, next step I'm going to talk to you about is, really uh, a way to become number one in your area or your zip code, I should say, or wherever it is that you serve. Um, so first thing you want to do is you want to really focus on getting to 100 Google reviews. Okay, step one, how can I get to 100 Google reviews? By the way, don't do all of these at the same time. Okay, I want you to focus on one constraint at a time. You can only focus on one constraint at a time. So don't do them all, but focus first. 100 Google reviews. How can I do that? Okay, well, I talk to current customers. I talk to past customers. I talk to customers who are perhaps have left one review in the past, and you say, hey, you know what? I love your review from 5 years ago. Can we freshen it up? And happy to do that, right? So that's number one. Get to that 100 Google review. And of course, you want 4 and 5 star reviews. And sometimes it's just saying, hey, would you be willing would you be willing to give me an authentic review of your services? And if it's 5 stars, man, that would bless me even more. You don't have to say you have to give me a 5 star review, but just to explain, hey, if it's a 5 star review, that's awesome, and I would really appreciate that. And then from there, you need to take a look and who are your biggest referral partners? Who are people who are your raving fans? And find the ones who you can bless back and sometimes blessing back doesn't mean money, but you can use money. But sometimes it's just saying, hey, I'm so thankful for you. I'm so thankful you're a referral partner and you're great. And so find those referral partners and start edifying them, blessing them. Maybe you just buy them a meal, part of this $500 local monopoly plan. Or maybe you send them, yeah, I know, that's right. Yeah. It could be a Panera gift card. It could be a Starbucks. It could be anything that is just a way, a show of appreciation. It could be $25. It doesn't have to be extravagant. It's just showing you care with a note that says, "Man, I'm so thankful to have you in my camp and for you to trust me and us enough to send other people to us. That means the world, right?" And then the next step is to look at where you can speak and share about your business locally. Where is it that you have your demographic or that it can be spread out? And you might find it in the most unlikely of places. I was just talking with one of my neighbors here in our office suite, who is an Edward Jones representative. He has a Edward Jones office. And he said, hey, I heard your book's coming out. When's it coming out? I said, yeah, December 3rd. And he said, well, what's the book about? I said, well, it's about purpose. I said, it's my part of my dissertation work on Milton Hershey, Walt Disney, and Steve Jobs. And I studied their entrepreneurial leadership and how it formed and developed. And I took my dissertation, I'm turning it into 3 books: Radical Purpose, Radical Product, Radical People. And it's starting out with our sense of purpose as business leaders. Oh, wow, I've got this group of like 200 people, would love to hear more about your book. Would you mind possibly coming and speaking to us? Yeah, I'd love to. You see? So, of course, what's going to happen? Inevitably, at that speaking engagement, people are going to want to know more about the services I offer. And I'm going to share all the wonderful things we do. So that's what I'm talking about. Get out there in front of people and have a conversation around what you do well, and make sure that they're the kind of people who would either buy your product or become referral partners for your product. And then next, create 2 case studies. And what are 2 case studies within your business? What are case studies of, these are back to just maybe a little longer testimonials of clients that you have, or customers or services that you can share, and how you've made their lives better by eliminating the pain and increasing their pleasure. And then having a monthly email that shares those case studies on a monthly basis, shares where those talks are, uh, elevates your referral partners, right? And says, I'm so thankful for these referral partners, and then asks those in those emails for more Google reviews. So there you go. There's your $500 local monopoly plan. All right, moving along. Okay, I call this the referral strategy 2.0. So regarding referrals, these are the ways that we look at referrals, from like multipliers and referrals. Number one is joint ventures. What are ways that you can have as a like a joint venture in referring your business? And that could be like, hey, let's have a an event, and it's sponsored by you and I and maybe another company, and it's a shared event, and we go out and we get people to learn more about what we do. We share free content, et cetera, et cetera. And so that's a joint venture in that model. Maybe it's a partnership. Maybe it's something that you've got someone else who has services that are similar to yours, but not exactly, and you're partnering with them. We have a lot of financial advisors who we partner with, and simply we go out and we share clients. Cross promotions. This is where you do with those some of those same referral partners. You cross promote and say, hey, if you buy, our services for X dollars, we're going to throw in some other services as well. And then, of course, then there's loyalty incentives. So we do a 10% loyalty discount. We call it our loyal client appreciation discount. And then, of course, you have appreciation campaigns where you can then say, "Hey, we had so many clients who, signed up for our newsletter and bought whatever products. We're gonna show appreciation by doing X, Y, and Z." And this just creates that referral model. People are just learning more about you, seeing your generosity, giving back, and wanting to be a part of how they help you grow your business. All right. Next, I'm going to talk a little bit about some email marketing. So, weekly value email. So we want to create an email every week, and this is the thing, you got to have email addresses, of course, but you can get email addresses from people, get them from your clients, your customers, and then of course you don't want to do unsolicited. You want to make sure that they get unsubscribed. So you got to use an email campaign system like a MailChimp or a one of those types that you can use, and there's a lot of free ones too. So what I like to see is a weekly value email, and that's just, hey, did you know about this? And it's really just helping them to see something new that's free that gives them valuable content. Okay, so for example, for us, a weekly value email would be, hey, the IRS is shut down this week because the government shut down, or maybe refunds are taking longer, or did you know about the new stimulus coming out? Okay, those are weekly value emails. And then people naturally will want to gravitate toward that, and they want to open that email because it's something new of value to them. And then you want the monthly offer email. So that's where you offer your services, offer some kind of an incentive for them to continue to do business with you. Send us a referral, give us a 5-star review, et cetera, et cetera. Come back with us. And then the next one is a quarterly announcement email. This is where you share what's going on in your world, whether it's you've got a new employee, whether it's you have a new system, whether you've got some new software or all those types of anything that you're announcing, new facility, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's your so then this is what happens. You create this is your VSO formula. You create value, then you have a story, and then you have an offer, right? Value, story, offer. So that's the model for, again, these have $0 cost, if not very minimal dollar cost, but they create just one more tool in your tool belt. All these are different tools for your tool belt. You might say, Nate, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. That's fine. Just find some tools or find one tool out of all these tools that work for you and do that. All right, you say, Nate, I don't have time to do all this stuff. Well, good news, you don't have to do all this. We have automations. This is 2025. Can you imagine that? 2025. That's the year, friends. We are in we maybe not be in the Jetsons, where you have flying cars and things like that, but we got chatbots. We got auto replies. We got reminders. We got email sequences. We got review automations. We can automate a lot of this work. So I'm not going to go, that's a whole nother talk all in of itself is all the different tools, but I want to just get it on your radar. Don't think you got to do all this on your own. This is an area that you can then create an automated system that takes care of so much of these automation tools, when these emails go out, how often they go out, reminders. You can even have an AI chat that gives you different topics to discuss, and so on and so forth. So these are so important. These are so good because you want to delegate and automate everything you can in your business leadership. All right. So make sure that you are taking care of automation and using automation tools as they are available. Don't try to do it all on your own. All right. Have you ever heard this saying, the fortune is in the follow-up? The fortunes are in the follow-up, friends. This is a very important saying. And if you haven't heard it, try to remember it. The fortunes are in the follow-up. Did you know that only 40, or that I should say 44% of business owners and business leaders and sales reps only follow up 44%, 44% only follow up once. So what do? They say, hey, are you interested in our product? Oh, I'm still thinking about it. Okay. And then that's it. Crickets. But here's the thing about most sales, they happen at 5 to 12 follow-ups. Wow. You think that's a lot. You say, I don't want people to follow up with me that much. Or I don't have the time to follow up with people that much. Friend, oftentimes it's just what it is. And it doesn't mean that you're constantly bombarding them. But here's how it works. You just try to follow. I use a 3x3 follow-up method. So 3 days, 3 ways, 3 messages. Okay. So essentially, follow up 3 different ways. You can shoot an email, maybe a text, maybe a phone call, and you do it for 3 days and 3 different ways. Hey, I just want to let you know that I got your paperwork going here. Love to connect with you. Hey, thanks for reaching out the other day. I know you're super busy. That's why I wanted to give you a buzz on this other channel to make sure that you know I'm still thinking about you. And then the third message, hey, I haven't forgotten about you. I haven't heard from you. However, I just want to let you know that still love to serve you, right? So you just have different ways to follow up and make sure that you are consistent in that and that you're not salesy, right? Because I don't like people trying to follow up for selling, but I do have people sometimes that they do it. They'll text me and they'll say, hey, is today a good day to talk? I'm like, no, not really today. Maybe tomorrow. Okay, great. I'll follow up with you tomorrow and have a great rest of your day. And so, you can do it in a way that it's not pushy, but at the same time in a way that acknowledges that you care about helping them solve their problem. And that's really the goal of it. All right. So customer relationship management, or CRM. Um, this is a low budget framework to track your customers, whether they be a new lead, so on. I would say you can use Google Sheets which costs nothing if you have a Gmail account or G Suite. Or there are some low cost tools as well to just track, okay, where are all my new leads coming in at? And then just have a spreadsheet line item for all my new leads. Where are my warm leads are next? Warm leads are people who are kind of interested. Hot leads is the next one. That's people who are pretty much ready to buy. They just need me to finalize paperwork or resolve any final barriers or objections. And of course, then they become into customers and then repeat customers. So, it's a really important to track all these things. And oftentimes we don't. Maybe it's on a little post-it and we wrote somebody's name down. That doesn't work, friend. We need to have data. If you don't have the data in a nice area that you can record it, it's been said if you don't know the data, you don't care. And that's kind of harsh, but it might be true. And I gotta check myself sometimes and say, okay, where's the data? This is all data of different kinds of leads. Make sure we're tracking those leads and keep that customer relationship management framed up. And I know I'm going through a lot, but there's just so much. And these are just all different tools in your tool belt. So this is a an important aspect as we just kind of get to the next level here. Marketing operating system. Marketing is not posting. I want to make sure we understand that. It's not posting. It's not busyness. It's not luck. It's none of those things. It's predictable systems. And that's a lot of what we're talking about today is systematizing your marketing. And so this is the dot two. This is the next level stuff. And so it's not just about posting. It's not just about, hey, I got lucky, I got somebody. It's creating these predictable systems. And these predictable systems will then turn into new customers. So you have to ask 5 questions, at least 5 questions. And I'm going to ask these questions. I want you to think about this. Number one, how do people discover you? How do they find you? You have to identify, where are people finding us? Well, again, maybe you have a brick and mortar, people walk by. Maybe your web traffic is great. Maybe you're advertising on social media. Maybe you have a strong referral market. Maybe you're sending flyers and newsletters out. Maybe you're showing up at the mall and handing out business cards. Back in the day when we were just moving to the mall in Northwest Plaza, way back in the day, '01, I had taken our business card and I had my team put a candy cane. This is during the Christmas season. Put a candy cane and tape it to the business card, and we were just handing out candy canes. Would you like candy cane? Would you like candy cane? Would you like candy cane? And of course, most people say, "Yeah, of course I'll take a candy cane." Well, guess what? They got the business card with it, right? That's how people were discovering us. I was trying to be, guerrilla marketing, and that was a lot of fun. And so we got a lot of clients that year. We had a 500% increase in our business just by we moved from our location on Berkeley on Airport Road to Northwest Plaza, which had a lot more traffic, and we marketed a lot, and we had a 500% increase in our sales. So that's pretty big. So we had to find out where they discovered us, and then how do they trust you? Once you know where people discover you, how do they trust you? What is it that you're doing to help them to trust you? So back to that whole model that I had shared earlier, I tell the story of how you help people, show your expertise, show your credentials, show your impact, show the results you get. And then how do you capture them? Because once people trust you, you have to then turn them into clients. So at least before you turn them into clients, maybe you haven't. You say you just want to capture them. You want to like capture their data or get their information and then follow up. Okay, we'd love to help you. And if you already have helped them, offer to help them again. And then the last one is how do you wow them, right? We want people to be wow. We want to, what is the old saying? Under promise, over deliver. So that's where we wow them with the quality of the service. You cannot shortcut quality. So make sure quality of the service is, that's really your best marketing is how great the quality of your service is. All right. So here's your roadmap, friends, as we round out and finish up. Number one, week one, select your avatar. This is an 8 week roadmap for you. So week one, just spend the whole week thinking about who my avatar is. identifying all the different parts of my avatar, what they love, what they fear, where they go, how much money they make, where they live, how many kids do they have, all these different aspects of the avatar experience. Who is that person that I can serve the best? Week two, work on those reviews. Get those reviews up to that 100 Google reviews. Work hard. You can do it. Week three, focus on that value rhythm that we talked about earlier. Week four, then think, who are my partners? Who are the ones who are my raving fans, my referral partners? Week five, get that follow up system in place so that I make sure that I have the 5 to 12 ways that I connect with people so they remember who I am and remember how much I care about serving them. I had a guy years ago. There was I have a pager store, paging and cell phones, way, way, way back in the day. This is the 90s. It's called Skylink Communications because taxes were seasonal at that point, and I didn't have a full cycle year round accounting firm. And so back in the 90s, I had Skylink, and so I sold beepers back in the day, and I bought them from a company called PageNet and the airtime and whatnot. And this guy kept coming to my office from a company called TSR, and TSR was a much smaller company. And I kept telling him, "No, man, I don't want your beepers." And he's like, "Nate, you gotta check my beepers out. You gotta check them out. They're better than anybody else's." I'm like, "No, I'm not interested." He came back. He kept coming back and back and back. And eventually, I was like, "Okay, you're pretty persistent. Maybe you got something here. Show me your pagers." And they were all different colors. They were beautiful pagers. And so, I was actually surprised how cool these pagers were. And ended up buying them. And they became actually one of my best-selling pagers for in my company. They had some translucent colors and different things, and people loved them. And actually, the rep ended up becoming one of my clients, one of my tax clients. This is the 90s, still a client today. So you can see follow-ups work as long as they're genuine, as long as they're not, killing people. So that's the next piece. And then after that, make sure you get those videos, get the short videos, put out. People want to see your enthusiasm for how you can serve them, whether it's you or whether it's a member of your team. Or whether it's a background. You can have like all kinds of cool stuff now with automation. You can even have a bot video. Make sure your email system's strong, and of course, make sure those local partnerships are intact, just like here. Final charge, friends. You don't have to spend big to win big. Just show up consistently and serve exceptionally. And that's what I got. So appreciate all of you for being on the call. And of course, Yolanda, thanks for so much for hosting, and this is such a great experience. What great folks and great content.
This was amazing. Thank you so much. I'm over here. I got notes and stuff. I know I get the video, but I'm like this is even LaDonna said this has been great today. Thank you,
Thank
Nate, for
you,
this
thank you,
awesome
thank you, thank you.
information because with the small firms and things out there, we don't have a big budget, but you're showing us that it's not about your budget, it's about your
Your brain.
exactly.
That's right. Yeah, just use the brain, use the tools we have. We can do this.
Yeah. Well, I thank you. Is there any questions online?
A lot to take in. I wanted to make sure to get all these different tools in. They're not, you don't have to do all of them, but definitely as many tools as you can put in your tool belt.
Yeah.
I do have a quick question really fast. This is Jen. What
Okay.
if, for example, like on the social media platforms, there's like another person or something like that that has our company name? Like, for example, on Instagram, there's somebody who has like my company name. They have like 2 followers and they do nothing on there.
Mhm.
Is there a way to like
Yes.
approach people or someone like that and say like, hey, can you transfer this to me? Or what do you recommend for those kind of situations?
Yeah, it's hard. That's hard to do. But what you can do is what a lot of people do in the larger businesses or the big companies. They put the words "the official" in
Yeah.
front. right? So you are the official,
Okay.
whatever your brand is. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that yeah, that's a very powerful statement that differentiates you from those who may be assuming an aspect of your brand that's just not you. So like, we're the official income tax center. It's like, ooh, okay, I'm glad to know that they're the official income tax center because I see them everywhere.
Cool. Great question, Jen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's super helpful. Would have never thought of that. Great idea. Thank you.
You bet. You bet. Yeah, it's a tough one. I mean, especially with like Facebook and all that and the social media platforms, it's so difficult. Like they're they're so, I don't even know if real people work there. It's like I think they do somewhere, but you can lodge complaints and think about like the billions of people on these platforms and just trying to get through. So yeah, you're better off just differentiating yourself.
Yeah.
That was
Any
good.
other? Yeah, that was good. Any other
Hmm.
questions? Well, Nate and everyone else on the call, have an amazing remainder to your week, and we'll see you next week on Wednesday. Same bat channel, same bat station. I wonder
Thank
if they
you.
remember. That's old.
I know that's old. That's old. Thanks, Yolanda.
All
You're
right.
awesome.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.
Bye, guys.
Welcome.